Hey guys, today this video is about how to do a calendar. I had another artist reach out to me recently and she asked, how do you make a calendar? I think it's a great way for artists to have something that they can, have a reproduction of and sell, and it's got a great use, a great function, it makes a great gift item. So it's definitely something that I encourage artists to do to make supplemental income. Because it's just a good gift item. Now, granted, you probably need to do this around Christmas time because obviously it's got a shelf life on it. But let's dive right into how I got this done. Well, first is let's talk about the photography. You've got to take pictures of everything you do. Most artists do, but a lot of them don't, and they paint or they create something and it goes out the door and they go, oh, I wish I'd taken a better picture. I wish I got a picture of it. So here's the deal, guys. You have everything you need on your phone. These phones today, the cameras on them are phenomenal. I mean, I'm doing my video right now from my phone, and I take all my pictures now from my phone. And I've got some very expensive camera equipment and video equipment sitting on my shelf up there that I never use anymore because I can do everything from my phone. And the cameras are excellent, especially when you're doing reproduction size, this big. This is not very big. Now, if you're going to do something huge, reproduction, something, a print or something really large on canvas, then yeah, you need to probably take it with a really good camera, one of those big cameras with a great lens. And I've got one. I've got a great Nikon sitting up there that I just don't use anymore because pretty much these cameras today on the phones are just absolutely excellent for reproduction work. So yeah, first thing is you got to take a picture of all your work before it ever leaves the studio. And I do that. I don't do it in here. I actually take it outside in natural daylight. I go on the side of my studio that is shaded because that's where it is the most even light, and that's what you want, is good even light. No shadows, no hot spots, no shine, no glare. So find that side of your house or studio or wherever it is and take a picture there. Also, if it's small enough, you can shoot down on it or you can put it up and shoot it like that, but try to get it as square as possible. So it's not just, at an angle or whatever, because you'll have to fix it later or a graphic designer will or whatever. So I shoot all of my stuff on my phone and then I take it into a program called Enlight. That's E-N-L-I-G-H-T, Enlight. And that's where you can crop it, and you can, if you can fix it, if there's a little bit of angle on it, you can skew it, you can add text, you can do whatever you want, you can lighten it, darken it, add filters. It's a great app, and it's called Enlight. If I don't want to do that, I just send it over to my laptop, and then I'll do some alterations in Photoshop because I can use work Photoshop, but not all artists know how to do Photoshop. So don't panic if you don't, okay? Don't let that stop you from doing a calendar. Okay, so now I've got all my pictures. And what do I do next? Well, first, you want to find the printer or find out who does this type of printing, which is print on demand. Most printers today do print on demand, which means you don't have to get 10,000 of these printed up and then go make sales. Now, you do want to get an estimate on what it costs, to do lots of 50 or 100 or 500 or 1,000 or whatever, because obviously the more you print up at one time, the lower your cost per calendar is going to be, and you want to keep your prices down, or keep your costs down, should I say. So I do mine in lots of 100. And then also one thing I would recommend is you pre-sell, meaning put it out there for your customers and say, hey guys, I've got these calendars, and from this date to this date they're $20, but after this date they go up to $30. So that gives them incentive to go ahead and pre-order a calendar, which will in turn give you some idea as to how many to get printed up. Because otherwise you're like, well, how many should I get printed up? 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000? So it's kind of hard to know. It's hard to gauge that until you get some of your pre-orders coming in, and then you can kind of gauge from there how many to get printed up. But yeah, the more you print up at one time, the lower the cost. But don't go out there and get 1,000 or 10,000 printed up until you have an idea as to how many you're going to sell. Otherwise, you're probably going to get stuck with a lot sitting under your bed or wherever in storage. Okay, so now what do you do with your pictures? Now you got a printer, and I'll tell you about my printer at the end of this video, but chances are there's a printer in your area, or there's 1,000 of them online that you can find that are all over the country, all over the world, who do this kind of work. So find your printer, talk to them, tell them what you're wanting to do, go through the specs, meaning what size do you want it, what type of paper do you want it on, what color coil, do you want the coil at the top or do you want it on the side? There's a lot of little things you need to talk to your printer about, and also they've probably done these 1,000 times before so they can show you some samples. So once you get that established, and you figure out all of your specs, like what kind of paper and all that, what size, they'll give you an estimate on it. And then you send them your pictures. Now, here's where artists get hung up a little bit, because most of them don't know how to run the apps or don't know how to do Photoshop, so it stops them or it intimidates them. Don't let that stop you, okay? Pretty much every printer has graphic artists on staff that can do everything you need, okay? You don't need to worry about that part. You just make great art, take a picture of it, send it to them. They'll size it, they'll get it exactly the way that it needs to be. Now, it may cost you a little bit for them to do that, but in the end, they really want you to do business with them, and they really want you to have a really good experience and a great product when you're done. And they want to print it because, hey man, it's competitive out there in the printing business. So they've really stepped up their game the last few years because there's so much competition out there. Okay, so they'll do a lot of the production for you, pretty much all of it if you want them to. So don't let the production part stop you, okay? And then the second thing I would really advise to artists, it gets where artists get hung up on this, is color. Okay, color is such a tricky thing. Unless the printer has the actual piece, they're not going to be able to match the color exactly. And don't let that stop you or bog you down or slow you down or whatever, because your customers don't see the original work either, so they don't know if it's the right color or not. All the customer really cares about is having a pretty, calendar, a pretty product that they feel good about, that they like looking at, and that they can give as a gift or whatever. It's got to have that value. And to them, the color isn't so crucial as it is to the artist. So don't let that stop you. And I'm going to show you an example here in a moment, because this was one of the pieces in this calendar, but I tweaked it in the app because there were some things I wanted to change about it, and then I sent it to the printer, and they came back with a digital proof. That's the next step, is they'll send you a digital proof, and you'll be able to see how it looks laid out. And then if you want a physical proof like this is a sample proof of the calendar, then definitely request that, because what you don't want to do is have an error or a mistake or something not go correctly, and you just got a whole bunch of these printed up. So I always request a actual physical sample so I can see it and I can hold it and I can feel it and make sure it's on the right paper and that we got everything right before they start printing up large quantities of this. Okay. So so you've taken your picture, you send it to the printer, they're going to send you a proof, and then take a look at it. And again, don't get hung up on the color, because that can bog you down, slow you down, plus they may charge you for every time you make edits. So pretty much when I sent my files over, they gave me the proof and I said go with it, because it looked good. To me, it looked really good. Hopefully you can see this well, and I was real pleased with it. Oh, and don't worry about this part. They have templates for that. You don't have to produce this. So I don't worry about that. They have it. But let me show you, that's not the one. I'll show you this guy, and then you'll see what I mean. Okay, so hopefully you can see this well. So this is this, but I made some edits to it. Okay, I brought down the color a little bit, I took down the green a little bit, I tweaked it a little bit, and then I sent it to the printer, and they came back with this, and I'm fine with it. Okay, yes, it doesn't look exactly the same as the original, but guess what? Nobody will know. The customer won't know. All the customer will know is they'll see it and they'll love it and they'll go, oh, I love my calendar. Okay, so don't get bogged down on the color stuff, because really it's more important to you than it is to anybody, and it can slow down the process and cost you money in the long run. But and then the last thing I would say is, don't forget to put your information on the back of your calendar, because this is a marketing tool for you. Okay, so make sure your information, your logo, your contact information is somewhere on your calendar. I always put mine on the back, so if somebody likes my work and they go, oh, I love your elephants, then if they want to contact me and get an original, they know how to do it. So there's no guesswork there or anything. You want to make it easy for them. One last thing, and then I'll stop this video and that'll be the end of it, is this is a great little thing for selling these calendars, and that is this. So the paper that I use is a good thick cardstock because I want it to have a good weight to it, okay? But here's the cool part. Each page is perforated, meaning when they're done with this month, they can just pull it out and they've got a print. They can stick it in a frame. So it's like extra added value. It's not just a calendar, but they can pull out the pages and they can frame them. So that's a great sales thing when you're doing these calendars. Okay, I'll tell you about my printer. My printer is Rocky Heights Printing Company. They're in Birmingham, Alabama. They've been doing my calendars for years and they do a fabulous job. If you want to contact them, Google them, Rocky Heights Printing. But again, they're in Birmingham, Alabama. Chances are there are printers in your area that do this exact type of printing. So you may want to go with them, support your local business, but also that way you can run down there if you need to and talk to them face to face. That kind of thing, as opposed to getting stuff shipped back and forth through the mail or whatever. But yeah, Rocky Heights Printing, that's who I use. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful, and if you need any more information, you want to contact me, you can do that through my website, which is thomasandrewart.com, and just contact me through that, and I'm always happy to help artists. Okay guys, good luck.